Welcome to the Signature Self Show, where we are learning to live a life that is more fun, fantastic, and fulfilling by dumping our junk, discovering the real you, and designing your ideal life so that you can show up more confident, creative, and courageous in all of your life. So welcome, Shikha. How are you?
I'm doing very great, man. Thank you so much for a warm welcome.
So glad to have you on here. So as we're talking about in the Signature Self, dumping the junk, which is getting rid of those exhausting practices, discovering the real you, giving yourself permission to be who you really are, and then finally designing your life. I really felt as you and I talked a little bit ago, it's actually been like a month now with the holidays and everything, that your story was so beautiful. So can you start by telling us a little bit about you and what you're doing and why?
I'm from India and I am born and raised up in a small city over here. Got married pretty early at the age of 20. I have a child. At the age of 22, I was already a mother. So things were very quick for me. That time I was just a graduate degree holder in commerce. But then because I saw that my marriage was about to fall, I took up to education. While fighting for my divorce, I studied. I took up a degree in English and law. I made sure that my parenthood is focused. It is not hampered by my divorce and other things. My parents, they have been the greatest support I could have. I really am grateful to the God for this support they have given me in the form of my parents. They have been there with me. That's when, like back in 2016, I decided to move to a bigger city in India and take up to my career, do something, be an example for my child, so that when she grows, she understands, because divorce is a taboo in India even today. Can't help it. Society has their own norms. They don't pretty much take. Sorry?
Can I stop you there for a second? Because I thought that was really interesting what you said. So divorce in India is not something that's common.
Yeah. And whoever's fault it is, the girl is always blamed for that. So even if she is the one who is the victim in that marriage, after divorce, the society will always blame her and they'll be like after her for everything. It has to be, you have to be grounded. You have to be very much strong, that you can fight and take a stand for yourself, because nobody else is going to do that for you. And that is where I made sure that I do not go by the society's norms. I was pretty much forced to get married again, but I clearly said that yes, I'll take up this thought further, but only when I think that I found a suitable match for me.
Oh, that's really so brave of you. And I think something that you and I talked about too that was really interesting to me was that in certain parts of India, so it's like there's two Indias, right? There's one part of India that's up with the progress, but then there's another part that they're about 10 years behind. But even in women's rights, it sounds like they're even further behind in that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I've been raised in that second India, which is still developing. It is taking baby steps to come towards the development. And now I'm living in that first India, where even I am struggling to, get used to the system, what here it is, technologically and other things. Of course, I made sure that even after living in that part of India, I never stopped myself from education.
Good.
Because I think once you are educated, your knowledge will always help you to change your mindset.
Awesome. So I apologize. I just think it's so interesting because we forget that like what it's like in different worlds. In some ways it's so much alike, and in other ways it's just so different. So I really appreciate your courage to share that with us. Okay, so I apologize. So you were right there. So you moved to the city and got your education. Tell us some more.
So then the reason why I shifted city is to start up and make a career for my life, for my child to be an example. Of course, I had pretty easy options at my hand, but I always wanted to make sure that I should be someone whom I never had in my life, like a support, like a mentor or a guide who could actually see in your life from, like, a different perspective. You don't have the usual perspective or what society or what people around you they have seen, and they'll just give you about it, but they will never change their perspective or think at it at a different point of view, from a different point of view, in fact.
Mm,
So that's where I always wanted to become that person in others life.
mm.
That's where coaching or counseling, both the things started for me simultaneously. I got into reading a lot of self-help books when I was in my hometown, and when I came to another city, this new city, what it was pretty new for me. It is even today. I can say that it's been 3 years, but yes, it's still a very new city. I'm in Pune, India. You must have heard of it. I'm not sure.
Not necessarily. Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
probably a lot like here. You may have heard of just like the main places like California or maybe
Yeah,
Florida. Most people don't know my city. Like when I travel outside of Washington, if I say I'm from Vancouver, they either think I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and if
yeah.
I say Portland, they think I'm from Portland, Maine. And I'm like, no, Vancouver, Washington. Oh,
In
if I say
Oregon.
Washington, then it's Washington, D.C. So, yeah, I totally get that. So, can you share with us what the process looked like for you so you're mentoring, coaching, what did that process look like for you?
So I pretty much started this coaching, counseling, and mentoring process when I was teaching. I was teaching to students of the age group of 13 to 15, majorly, and that's when I realized that mentoring, it was not easy, but if you made it very simple,
Mm-hmm.
because humans want everything to be complicated. We
Mm-hmm.
have this tendency of taking a simple thing and making it as complicated as we could.
So true. Yes.
Yeah, and that's when even when I was teaching, I was teaching geography to the kids and English, because I was also pursuing English literature. That's when I realized that if we try to break down things which are already complicated, will I identify that things are pretty simpler.
Mm.
And just because we overthink, that's when things become complicated.
So
And
true.
when I used to share these simple thoughts with my students and my friends, when I actually started to coach, that's when they used to love this simple thoughts, and they used to always say these things to me, that the way you have explained this, we really understood it. So
Mm.
that's enough for me. That is how I can say that, yeah, I am able to do some things for them.
Awesome. So, Shika, can you what is your special wow, I cannot talk. And you know what? I'm not even going to edit that out because we're just being real here, right? So,
Yeah.
I've had my 2 cups of coffee, but I obviously need another. Um
Wow.
what can you say? So, what is the message that you would like to share today with the Signature Self audience? What would you like to tell us about?
So like I said, we always overthink and complicate things. We we like to actually look at the thing and with a magnifying glass, is what I would say, because our entire focus is on that one particular problem, that we miss out the bigger picture, and that's when things get complicated. So I would like to share one thing where here is that, if a problem in the life is growing as per your view, then probably it's a good idea to just shift your focus for some time fix your eyes on something else,
Mm.
whatever you love to do. And probably then once you are already in that position, then try to look at it, and that's when you can find that the problem is very small, it's not that big.
Ooh, I like that, and it fits so perfectly with all three categories, really. Because when you talk about dumping the junk, sometimes we can get stuck in the muck. um, hey, I'm a rhymer. But you really can. You can make it too big. You can not ask for help or get support. And really, somebody else might see something that's really simple and say, hey,
Yeah.
why don't you just do this? And then it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Or I did, and I made it 150 steps, right? Versus like
Yes.
maybe 5. What do you think about that?
Yes, I completely agree, because I would say that even today I get this kind of realizations even in my life problems. Uh, 2 days back, I was going through some problem which was happening for the past entire year, took some decisions, financial decisions, and then thought that probably I should have taken. But then that's where I realized that today I learned a big message that I really did not need to invest that money. Forget about it. I've done that. I have created that problem to come into existence, and then it grew.
Mm,
It grew to a level that I was feeling as if somebody is suffocating me, somebody is strangling me to the neck. It was till so bad for me till 2 days ago, and
mm,
that's when I realized that I am a coach, or I am someone who needs to help people think from a different perspective. And what am I doing with myself? I
mm,
am also looking at that small problem. I have been just fixated. My eyes were fixated on it for such a long period of time that I forgot everything else.
mm.
I forgot whatever I was actually blessed with. So that's where my focus shifted, and in a matter of seconds I was able to let go of that problem, and I dumped the junk. I would
There you
use your
go.
words here.
I love
So
it.
those 150 steps wherein like I'm just calculating all the days back when I took the decision, and there was just 2 or 3 steps where I decided to shift my focus and accept it, and let's find the solution and move on to it.
I like that. Yeah, because once you do that, then you can start to really be free to be who you need to be. Like you were saying, you need to be a coach, so you don't need to be focused on this thing. And
Yeah.
isn't that true that so many of us, whether we're a coach, a mom, a wife, all the other roles that we play as women, we are mentoring somebody. We're an
Yes.
example to
Completely.
somebody. And so I love that you did all this for your daughter, but you're also thinking about the women in your area. Um, how do you feel about the thought that once you've dumped the junk and you're saying like, I've stopped focusing on this thing and I just found the solution. Now that allows you to be free to be who you are and what you need to do and your purpose.
So this is how I normally function. The moment I feel that I'm free of that junk, of that problem, I take my own time to enjoy that feeling of being free.
Mm,
Because if you immediately try to replace that problem with the solution, you might forget to enjoy that moment, and you will
mm,
again start uh, probably overthinking that if your solution will work or not. And then if
mm,
again the problem comes out, so I always go by this flow. And this is what I've also taught, just not my students but also the women I've worked with, especially the parents, because I'm a parent. So parents, they like, we share common problems over here.
uh,
The best thing is that to, for some time, be okay in that step wherever you are in that neutral situation. Because I think that always being positive and always being negative also doesn't help. You
mm,
have to enjoy and you have to go with the flow,
mm,
so that at least you are focused, you are enjoying that moment. You're not happy, you're enjoying it. So there's a
mm,
difference between being happy and enjoying the moment, because happiness is at least it is object oriented. But enjoying is always like you are into that moment and you are loving that moment is what I think.
I like that because I think it goes along. I think if I understand what you're saying is it's like when you're going through grief, for example, you have to actually appreciate and acknowledge each step that you're in, whether you're angry, you're in denial, or all of those. As difficult as that is, you have to actually be in that. You can't just ignore it, because if you do, then it's going to get worse. And so it's almost,
Yes.
I like what you're saying. It's like enjoying that moment, almost like, okay, I'm in denial. I need to be in denial. I need to allow myself to be okay with that so
Yes.
that I can move forward.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. And then finally, you can start to design your life, because if you've got junk and you're not recognizing who you are, and like you're saying, acknowledge where you are, enjoy where you are, how can you ever look forward 10 years? Like you can't, right? You can't even look forward
Yeah.
10 minutes.
It's not possible actually. And the best part, we just stepped into a new decade from 2020. So this was one of my decisions while stepping out of 2019, that my last decade, my last 13, 14 years, I have seen a lot of up and down in my life. So I don't want to carry any of those junk, those problems, and also those thoughts, because with the problems our thoughts change and then we tend to overthink and look at something simple, we complicate that thing because of the experience, because of
Mm-hmm.
the references we have in our head, that okay, this thing happened with me and that is why I think like that. So I
Mm.
decided to live everything in that part of the life in the past, and
Ooh.
then think of because there is a big decade coming ahead, the 2020 was starting. So I just wanted to make sure that not just 1 year or a 1 month, I wanted my entire decade and obviously the life to go on without the junk of till the 2019 whatever junk I had.
That's so good. I love it. Oh my gosh. I love that thought. It reminds me, so I have a club, the Gals Club, and we do troop meetings. And so we have, things that we're learning together. And one of the things that we did is we took our negative thoughts and we burned them. We wrote them down on a piece of paper and we burned them. And
Yeah.
I like what you're saying. It reminds me a little bit of that. Like, okay, the 2010s, whatever we're calling them, last decade, I'm burning you. I am
Yeah.
letting you go. Like you're gone. I want 2020 to be open with possibility and not, carrying that baggage, that heavy luggage junk. That's great.
And the burning idea is amazing. I have seen people do that. We have also, like, I've made someone do the burning activity, I've made someone do tearing activity, scribbling
Oh,
activity, whatever you like, do with that,
uh-huh.
because that negative thoughts need to get out of your body, your mind, and out of your focus,
Mhm.
importantly.
Yeah. And I think the cool thing that we talked about with that too was that it's not, you burned it and it's gone, right? It's you burned it, but you have that very clear visual that you burned it. And so when it comes back, you can say, no, I burned you.
Yes.
You're gone.
Yeah.
And you can
That is
continue.
nice.
Yeah, because it's a practice, right? None of this stuff is like, I fixed it and it's gone. It's done. It's a practice. I love
And
it.
something I've also learned during my journey is that you cannot fix everything.
Right.
So there are two options to deal with those kind of things. You let it go, or you keep it with you and be okay with that, that okay, this part is broken and you cannot fix it, but you have to
Mhm.
learn to live with it. So
Mm.
that at least they don't create a problem, but they become your strength because you are aware of it, that they exist.
Oh,
The denial is not there anymore for those things, because
oh,
it's like as simple as if you have broken a bone, you know it's broken and it can't be healed, it cannot be fixed, so
right.
you have to accept that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. So if there was one thing that you wanted to share that you would have us take away, I know you've said several amazing golden nuggets, like there has been some great advice and thoughts on in here. But if there was one thing, even if it's something you already said and you want to reiterate it, or if it's something else, what's one thing you would want our audience today to take away from this conversation?
Um, the most important thing which I have learned the hard way, I would like to share it here, is that your problems are really not as big as we tend to make them,
Hmm.
because you were not born with those problems. You have picked it along with your life, with the journey of your life. So it's as simple as you are on you're on a highway, you are taking a long drive, a road drive, and you pick up some trash from somewhere because you wanted to have it. Like for example, you wanted to have a Coke, and you still have that can, but you will not be taking it all the way till the destination. You'll probably find a dustbin and throw it off the moment it is finished. So in the similar manner, the problems which we have picked up in our life's journey, we should probably find a place to throw it off. We are not supposed to take it along with us on the journey.
Mm, that's beautiful. I love it so much. Um, Man, there's so many good things you said here, Shikha, and we might have to have you on again.
I would love to.
I just love our conversations. You have such a beautiful just spirit about you, and I can tell that you really love deeply, and that you really care for the work that you do. So I really do appreciate you joining us today. How can my audience get in touch with you? Now we'll have the links available in the YouTube video and the SoundCloud, um, uh, iTunes, all that stuff. So how can they get a hold of you though?
I have a page on Facebook and Instagram. I will be sharing the link. It's by the name Coach Shikha Saboo. There I keep on posting thoughts, some kind of, I normally share post in a form of a theme. So like for 2020, I've made a specific calendar. Like January is the month where I'll be working on my relationship with God. Then in
Mm.
February, I'll be working on my character development. So I'll be also posting thoughts or learnings basis of the themes which I'm using for this month. So I've shared the entire calendar over there. So that's the best way to get in touch with me, because all my email and everything is also linked with that.
That's awesome. Oh, I love the idea of each month focusing on something. I'm definitely going to check that out, because I think as you refine and you understand yourself better, you know what you want to do, that kind of stuff, which is something I'm really focusing on in 2020 as well. It's easier to say stuff like that, like, okay, this month I'm going to focus on this. Sometimes it's even nice to focus on like a weekly thing, like, okay, this week I'm focusing on my show, this week I'm focusing on my club. But I love a monthly, because there's so many things that we want to focus on that are really important, like not just like
Yeah.
little things, but like your relationships with your, like with your daughter or with God, or whatever those big things are to you. I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I've worked out 12 of such kind of fields, themes for the entire month. So you can also check them out. It has relationship with God, your character development, career,
Ooh.
love, relationships, parenting, family. And in the end, the December month is for your visionary life, so that the entire decade ahead can be planned based on the development that we did in the entire year.
Ooh, that's good. Ooh, I'm excited. Thank you so much. So, Shikha, thank you for being on here today. Oh, I can't wait to get this out to our audience. It was beautiful. You had so many golden nuggets, and I am just really excited to see where your journey takes you. Can you also really quickly, before I let you go, what are you doing right now? Like, what are your favorite things that you're excited about?
Um, so I'll just talk about my leisure time, because we are done talking with the work. So in my leisure time, I like to make jewelry. I make handmade jewelry, the seed beads. I use seed beads to make them. They also bring a big smile on my face, and they just rejuvenate me a lot. So I spend my time I do a lot of binge watching. Many series, international series like The Mentalist, Castle. These are my favorite genre because I like thrillers and suspense series. Sherlock Holmes. These are my favorite binge watching.
Awesome.
That's what I do. And if I don't want to do anything else, I just read most of the time. So these are two, three things I keep shuffling because you need a change. The variety is the essence of life, is what I think.
Beautiful. Okay. I love it so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. You are amazing. I cannot wait to get this out to
Thank
everybody.
you.
So have a fantastic day. And for our audience, you guys are amazing. You are a diamond. You have a huge purpose, and everyone who meets you will be blessed by you. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Maraya. Bye bye.